Took a shot at Henry, y'all could go and brace it. They know they talk that stick talk.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Slick Talk Real Convos. I'm your host, Rick Wandike, aka Slick Rick, and my guest today is my boy Chase Cameron, aka Coach Chase, aka CCP. We got it going on right here. How's it going, Chase?
It's good, brother. Good to have you here, man.
Good to be here. Obviously, we're not in the Henny Cave, and we're not in my house. Actually, drove out to the OC to see my boy in his new workspace. So you were just telling me that you've been here for 4 months, right?
Yeah, we're 4 months into this thing as of tomorrow.
Okay, there you
So
go.
4 months as of tomorrow, and you know what? It's going quick.
Yeah.
Lots of work still to do, but so far so good.
So what? Obviously, you've been a trainer. I've known you for I think the last 3 years now. We both coached at Fairmont. How did you get into being a trainer to the degree that you are now?
I mean, it depends on how deep of a story you want to go, but let me start off with
got
kind
time.
of the overview, and we can go as many details as you want here. But basically, you know what? When I was, let's say 19, 20, I was playing basketball at OCC.
Nice.
And once that concluded, it was like, all right, what do I want to do next year? And we just got into, me and my buddies back then, was just hooping at 24 all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we were lifting at like midnight.
Yeah.
You know, so we're just lifting and hooping, doing the college thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just had a great time. I mean, I've always been an athlete like that. And I've always liked being in the gym. So the social, the camaraderie, just the fun of it was always appealing to me. And so that led me to be like, well, shoot, why don't I just be a personal trainer right now? So I got enrolled in the OCC department where I worked with adaptive PE. Actually, it was my first role.
Okay.
So if you're not familiar with adaptive PE, it's a lot of disability training.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a guy with some muscular dystrophy, and
Ooh.
you know, you got to get creative. I mean, I started off training people who were blind, muscular dystrophy, any kind of disorder you can imagine. We worked with, and it was really cool. So you kind of had to be a little bit imaginative with your language, and it was challenging, but it was fun. I mean, I know they had some struggles physically, but the mentalities and the attitudes were great. So it was a great first experience to kind of get my foot in the door of what that was like. Ultimately, that led me to Cal State Fullerton, where did the graduate stuff in Kines, and didn't know what I wanted to do after that. It was just doing personal training at the rec center, and so took a year off, and then ended up going back to get my master's degree at Cal State. So during that time, I did an internship with a private sector facility called Velocity Sports Performance, which at that time they were pretty big.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple still around, but back then they had a lot of facilities, and so did an internship there. Long story short, ended up getting on part-time, and eventually was the performance director. And I think I just had always a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. So eventually left that, started subleasing and trying to figure this whole business thing out, which I'm still trying to figure out. You know, it's an always forever process.
Of course.
And that landed us to where we are today, and in our first facility. And so we've got a nice 2,500 square foot home, 3 rooms upstairs, gym downstairs, and this is where we're at and where we're going.
Yeah, this is my first time here, by the way. But I've seen him. He posts constantly, and I know some of our shared players have come here from Fairmont. And no, it's nice, guys. Coming in here, I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, you've seen from videos and stuff, but the videos don't do it justice. This place is nice. 2,500 square feet. I mentioned before we started recording that from the outside, it looks small, but you're able to, everything flows so well. The equipment, downstairs, upstairs, and you're able to fit a lot in here. Like you said, you had your recovery room upstairs, your PT room upstairs, your office is upstairs, and then the weightlifting down here. I know you said you kind of use the outside area as well to work out. No, man, this is really dope. I want to go back to I guess how I know how I got to Fairmont. I've told people the story before on when this was the real rundown. How did you end up working with Fairmont basketball?
So actually, Coach Sarah, who was the women's coach, the girls' coach at the time, and I still work with her teams.
Mm-hmm.
And so back then, we got connected through a mutual friend of mine who I played basketball with at OCC actually. So his name was Lance, and he ended up playing some big time basketball. Ended up playing pro, and so he was an absolute stud when it came to the court. And they had grown up together, I think, in Mission Viejo or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So they had known each other, childhood friends, and somehow, some way, was on his story because I remember what happened. we were fostering a dog, and so we're like, hey man, I'm putting this out there. We've got a dog that needs a home. Lance reached out. I'm like, Lance, you were a great dude. I would love for you to take this if it makes sense. And he actually got a second one that we had fostered at one point too. So he took 2 dogs from us. So he had posted that up on his social media. Coach Sarah saw it and knew my background through this somehow. And so as she was looking for a strength coach, she's like, hey, well, who is this guy? Like, what's his background? And so we got connected through this dog adoption kind of thing. So, it's kind of a weird story about how that formulated, but I think it goes to show too, because, you never know how situations work out and how opportunities kind of present themselves. So,
Absolutely.
Just by doing things that we felt was the right thing kind of led to this. And so Coach Sarah and I met, we clicked. And I came down to Fairmont, which was in Anaheim, and I'm coming from Costa Mesa, so it's not an easy drive.
No, it's not.
But at that time, I was starting to brand a bit more in the direction of basketball. So for me, it was more about the relationship and the potential of what that could be in the future than like an immediate paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Met the team. Team was cool. Loved working with the girls, and I think we did that for 5 years.
And so, do you remember your first year at Fairmont? What was it? When she first started as a head coach, or a little after?
I don't know if it was her first year. I can't recall. It was with Ann Ling.
Ann Ling Suvera.
Ann Ling, yep. She was her senior year, so it was that year.
So it was her senior year. That would have been 2021. Yeah, 2021 was Ann Ling's senior. So 2020, the COVID year.
Well, I think we started before the COVID year.
Okay.
So whenever that was, but it was right before the COVID year, because I remember when COVID year hit, we had all those restrictions coming down.
Yeah.
So we had started right before the COVID. So it has to be probably around 1920, something like that.
Yeah. So then you and I came in at the same time. That was the year they went to the championship game, and they lost to Orangewood. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Our rival Orangewood.
Yeah,
we had some battles with them.
Unfortunately, they don't have an athletics program anymore, so no more fun battles with them. But yeah, that was a tough year. Yeah, no, that's crazy. I remember meeting you in 2022 when I ended up at Fairmont full time, and you would come do the strength training after school. It was kind of like during flex period.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember you then. I'll be honest, I don't remember before then. To be fair, I don't remember a lot of people but people would be like, "Oh, you've been around," and I'm like, "Yeah, where'd you come from?" No, that's dope, man. A funny story about that is I remember one of the first times I met you at the prep when you did strength and conditioning for the girls during flex out on the turf. Is you saying what's up to Jayla? Do you remember this?
Remind me of the specifics of this one.
She had a shoulder injury.
Yeah, that's right.
And you didn't know, but you just friendly, like, "Yo, what's up, Jay?"
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I tapped her. I felt so bad about
dropped.
that.
She was like, "Oh." Shout out to Jay.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Jay. What's up, Jay? If you're watching this, my bad.
So obviously, your time at Fairmont, Coach Sarah's last year at Fairmont was 2023, the end of the 2023 season. She moves to Canyon. You move with her. And what are the differences between, for you, like just from your perspective, the differences between Fairmont Prep and Canyon High School?
Let me go real quick back to that first year. Speaking of that, so yeah, that Jayla thing cracks me up. I felt so bad because obviously as a coach, it's not, you don't want to hurt a player ever, but especially a player that's already beat up.
Yeah.
But you remember Mia?
Yamamoto.
Yeah. So actually, she worked with me these past 2 months in my online program, and she's prepping for some stuff too.
Nice.
So still, occasionally connect with that team.
Yeah. That was a good. That was a great team.
But so Mia, we were up at that field like you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and like one of my first training sessions out there, that was the only access that we had was that old field before they turfed it up.
Yeah.
And I think when we were doing a drill, she slipped, and man, my heart sank because I thought because she kind of went down.
Yeah.
It was like a little bit grabbing her knee. Now she was fine, but as a coach, your heart sinks on that, and that's like my second day out there too. You know what I mean? So. But fortunately, everything was good, and that was a great team. I really enjoyed that team.
That was a really good team.
Yeah, but being over with the Canyon girls, we had a great, successful first season. Won the chip, actually.
I know. Division 4 AA?
I think that's what it was.
I think, yeah.
And that was a stud team, man. I tell you what. I went down there a little bit that year, but to kind of fill people in, a lot of our team training has gone online because, of course, running a gym and trying to work with multiple teams, there's only so many places you
Yeah.
can be, especially when it's not super close.
Yeah.
So we were kind of doing a hybrid where I would go down there and then I would give them assignments, right? So I think that worked well. Sarah had created a good culture and brought that over with her to Canyon because they didn't have, I think, two successful seasons prior to that.
Yeah.
But she got some players that came in, really great girls that had great leadership qualities. The culture was really good, and so for me, it was a pretty seamless transition.
Mm-hmm.
Just new girls, new place.
Yeah.
Right. So just had to kind of create those new relationships because I had those previous relationships. So I had to earn that trust a little bit more again,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm just a stranger coming in, right? Who is this dude?
Yeah.
And to be fair, as a guy coming into a girls' basketball team, there's a trust that you have to build with that, and that's just the reality of it. And then I think we did a pretty good job with that. And so obviously that led to a good, successful season, winning a championship.
Yeah.
And here we are now, still rolling with it in year 3 actually. So
Yeah, you're crazy. Time flies. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Like for me, when I got to Fairmont as a PA announcer, and then I would help out more with the boys basketball team because my homie BJ, shout out to BJ, who brought me into Fairmont. He was associate AD and assistant coach for the boys basketball team. I also announced for the girls, but again, since I had that relationship with BJ and I didn't have it with Sarah or Johnny or her other assistant coaches, I didn't want to like just input myself into that team. You know what I mean? Because it is like you said, there has to be a build of relationship and trust. I didn't see those kids enough to be like, hey, how's it going? Like, yeah, who the fuck is this dude? Why is he talking to me? Who's this strange man talking to me? I didn't want to do that. It wasn't until that year 2022 to 2023 that I was on campus full time, and the girls had already kind of remembered me from the games and stuff. But that was when I started building those relationships with that girls team and being more a bigger part of it and traveling with them to certain games. And even now after Coach Sarah went to Canyon, with Coach Josh at Fairmont, still traveling with him the last 2 years to all these games, being a part of practices and game plans and stuff like that. It's not something you can just force your way into. Like you said, there has to be that filling out period. Like, who's this dude? Like, okay, Coach Chase, he's cool. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, you still have relationships with your players from Fairmont Prep because of who you are. It's not they still have that trust in you, which I'll kind of segue into this. Obviously, I don't know if y'all can see because I'm sitting kind of far, but it's a CIF championship ring the boys basketball team won. And the reason I'm wearing this today is because you have a couple of our boys basketball players who came through here who you worked out with, Ryan, Ethan. Is there anyone else I'm missing that you worked out with from the boys team?
No, just those two guys.
Okay, hey, you still, in my opinion, you still helped contribute to this. So that's why I brought this today. Getting even those two specifically ready for the basketball season, I think that helped out a lot. Ryan played some important minutes throughout the playoffs. Ethan not so much, but his preparation, he was a freshman. His preparation for practices and games it was pretty important to our team's success. So again, just shout out to Coach Chase because he did help our team and our boys and me get one of these. And you won, and you also helped Canyon win your first year to get CIF. So deserves a couple rings by now.
Hey man, well, much appreciated. I appreciate that support right there.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it definitely means a lot, right? Strength coaches, they're a part of the team, and
Absolutely.
we talked about this earlier. This is such a unique situation because I'm not a part of one team on campus, right? So I don't get to be there as much to be considered really kind of part of the team sometimes. But you do play your part, and it's a small part, but it's an important part, I think,
Absolutely.
too, right? It's a supporting part, and you have to have good supporting parts.
Absolutely. You're getting the kids, physically and mentally, to some extent, ready to play the game. To be, like you said, it's not just strength training; it's recovery, it's preparation, it's all that. So I think strength and conditioning coaches. We talked about this before the camera went on. For this ring, shout out to Mark Frontato. I know I'm gonna get him on the podcast soon. He was our strength and conditioning coach at Fairmont for this year for the boys. And this is going to be funny. Coach Jody talking to him about it, about rings. He even told me, like, oh, yeah, maybe you'll get a ring. I was like, well, fuck, I'm definitely getting a ring, dude. I've been here 6 years. I'm here all day, every day. I'm the point of contact between you, the kids, the teachers. Like, In the smallest way possible, I feel like I did contribute to this. But obviously, the boys do the work, and it paid off. The coaches, we help as much as possible. Coach Rentado doing what he did as a strength and conditioning coach, I feel like he earned his ring. He did end up getting one, but I just thought it was funny that Jody was like, maybe, I don't know. Like, hell no, bro. I'm getting a ring. He's getting a ring. And also, funny enough, Coach Rentado became the head coach for our boys' golf team this year. And they also want CIS. So he actually doubled up on rings this year.
Hey, man, sign that guy up, dude, because he's got something magic, apparently.
Apparently, he's on a roll right now. So shout out to Mark. Shout out to Coach Lexi. Love you, Lex. We'll go ahead moving forward now with obviously your current space. I know you said you have big plans for this space specifically, and then I know you want to keep growing. Do you want to give people a little explanation, a little preview of what's to come for CCP?
Absolutely. So let's start with what we currently are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are a majority basketball brand, and we work specifically with high school athletes, while we do work with below a little bit too. But primarily our market is high school basketball. And so in here currently we have the 2,500 foot square space. We just talked about 3 rooms upstairs. We got the gym downstairs. And in this current space we're sitting, we're going to look to maximize a bit more space, right? So that's kind of the breakdown of the gym with our physical therapy partners in here. Shout out to Ignite Physio. I've been friends with Ignite Physio for like 6-7 years and their staff, and they've done a tremendous job working with our players. Ethan, for example, Ethan was working with them. Still touches base with Will in here. So he comes in for monthly check-ins, tune-ups. So they've been a huge support for us, and vice versa for them. So it's a great working relationship, and we're going to look to continue to do those things. Once a quarter, they test our athletes on all of the stuff that they have, all their technology and all of their expertise. So again, huge resource for us. Get some eyes from the physical therapy side of things, which is outside of the scope of what I do.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that internal support in here on
Absolutely.
a pretty much daily basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll continue to nurture those relationships and build opportunities for our basketball athletes. We do work with adults as well. We have some adult classes that are going to be launching pretty soon. So that's kind of where we're at. And then shout out to my partner in our online space, Dr. Kyle Aguchi. Some people may know him as Dr. Dunks. So he's actually how I ended up with Ethan in a weird way, because his buddy was the guy working with Ethan,
mm-hmm.
and I got introduced to him through Kyle. And so Ethan still works with him when he's in town, but this individual left to New York to go to PT school, physical therapy school.
Mm-hmm.
So when he's back in town, Ethan and him touch base. He's a phenomenal coach. I got huge respect for him. Super smart, very professional, does a great job. So when he left, he referred Ethan over to me, which is how I ended up working with all these different players through the connection of Ethan.
Okay.
And so, so shout out to him, because without him, I don't work with these guys.
Yeah.
And so we kind of attack it together. So, which is a cool thing. I think there's no egos. There's all support. It's all love. Let's make the best thing for the athlete. And that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And so Dr. Kyle and I have created a product for high school basketball online, which we are beta testing with some of our current teams coming up right now. And this is something that we're going to continue to push over the course of the next few years. Because it's really unique. He can come from the physical therapy side of things as well as the strength side of things. So we've got a very particular vision of what we want to do. And we feel like we've got something very impactful coming up that we haven't even vocalized. This is the first time we've ever vocalized it publicly. We haven't even been putting it out there yet.
Slick Talk exclusive.
Breaking news right here.
There you go. Here on Slick Talk.
We're super pumped because we are going to open this up to bigger things in the future. We're going to be running workshops and seminars. We're filming these things. We're uploading all these things as resources onto our platforms. So we have some major things coming up. So, for example, one of the things that we see as the majority nagging injury, not catastrophic injury, but nagging thing that I see most common in high school basketball is jumper's knee, patellar tendonitis, tendinopathy, however you want to call it. But jumper's knee is one of the most consistent things that I see with athletes in the high school game. And so we're putting a bunch of different things up on the platforms to help address a lot of things that we see with athletes as resources up on this thing. So we got some cool stuff coming, man, and I can't wait to share it with everybody.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. Even before the camera started rolling, you kind of mentioned. I was like, yeah, this sounds dope. For you, how long did you play basketball as a kid? When did you start? I guess.
Shoot, before I can remember, I was I was the kid breaking windows in the house by playing with basketballs, baseballs, you name it. I've broken probably 5 windows doing stupid stuff.
And you said you played at OCC. That was your last year playing basketball. Your second year at OCC.
Yeah, that was my last year playing organized basketball.
Okay.
I played at Newport Harbor. It was a 3-year letterman, 2-time All League, and I was okay. But I mean, I wasn't anything special going to D1. Pretty typical. But I was a good player and played at OCC, and then just had love for the game and played as long as I could until I now 40 years old. I'm kind of got some other interests, and
Are you
physically
40?
it's a little tough. Yeah, man, I'm 40.
Oh, damn.
40, dude.
Damn, time flies.
Man,
Dude. I feel
you
like,
tell me about it.
I feel like you told me when we first met a couple years ago that you were like in your mid 30s.
I was.
Well,
I
like,
was.
yeah, no, that makes sense. But I thought you were like 30. I thought at this point you were like maybe 38 or something.
I wish, but no, I'm 40.
Okay,
So I
there
got
you
that
go.
4-0 here. And but yeah, man, we're just playing rec ball all those years. So fun, but you can never completely, copy what you did and experience what you did with the organized ball and the crowds and the competition. I mean, that was one thing that if you're still playing, embrace that and love that, because that's only here for so long.
What would Coach Chase, the trainer, advise young Chase Cameron, the basketball player, to do in high school that you didn't do?
From a performance side of
Mm-hmm.
things, not a basketball side of things.
Mhm.
From a performance side of things, I would say get in the gym, man. I didn't want to do any of that stuff, dude. No way.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But to be fair, a lot of this stuff wasn't like it is now.
True.
We didn't have private sectors gyms
Mm-mm.
back there. I think Marv Marinovich, if anybody knows that name, and Todd Marinovich was his son.
Mhm.
Very famous story. They've done documentaries about him.
Yep.
So his dad, Marv, was kind of an innovator in this field, Marinovich training systems. And I think the Marinovich training system is still out there. So
It is.
and so he was kind of the only one doing some of this stuff at the time. So we had a weight room and we had assignments to get in, but I'll tell you what, I wasn't bought into that stuff back then.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, let's get some beach muscles, dude. Let's go look good.
Yeah. Just
Maybe that. But look, to be honest, like we would go lift, but what I try to tell athletes, and this is what Dr. Kyle and I are trying to help solve in terms of high school athletics, is it's just too much missed time and too much inconsistency for these guys to really develop.
Mhm.
Take the off season, get focused with it, prioritize it, right? This is the time to develop your bodies, which is going to help you perform better in season. It's going to help you stay healthier in season. And then in season, don't get away from it, right? It changes how we approach things, but you still got to get after it and do some things. While the style of what we do does change to accommodate the priority being basketball performance at that point. I mean, that's what I would recommend to my younger self is you got to be a bit more consistent. You got to get in there because true athletic gains are going to come from being consistent over a long period of time. You can't float in for a week or two and then float out.
Yeah.
You just can't do that if you want to get some real higher level gains and adaptations. You might get those newbie gains, but beyond that, you're not going to get too much. So if you really want to be elite and you really want to get to another level, whether that's make a starting lineup, make all league, get a scholarship, go above what your abilities are currently,
Mhm.
maximize your potential, you just have to be consistent.
I agree with that, and it's hard, when you're young. Like you having the experience you have now as an adult in your profession in your area. It's hard to have that sort of not like that perspective and that appreciation for that grind as a teenager. Like you said, as a teenager, you're like, I'm not doing this. Like, man, I might get a quick plum to look good, but other than that, I don't really care about performance wise. I don't really care about lifting weights or doing anything like that. For me as a coach, with the boys basketball team, uh, it is hard to kind of get them motivated because most guys just be messing around in the weight room. But then you have your guys like Ethan who comes here and you're coming here for a reason. You're not just going to come here to mess around. You're going to come here to get better and improve your performance, improve your mobility, improve your strength, improve all that. Your hops, because I know you do your dunk sessions over here in the gym. It is hard. I was having this conversation with my boy Drew on the second episode that as a coach, like it's hard to have that. It's hard to get kids to buy in, but when they do, obviously good things happen. That's why this year we had a good year. The boys bought into what us coaches were telling them, what we were planning for them, what the strength and conditioning, to the X's and O's, to the team chemistry, camaraderie, etc. I know, in your time at Fairmont Prep, as well as mine, those teams were great. They made deep runs because, for the same reasons, they bought into the work, they bought into the plan, they bought into what the coaches were saying. It's really hard to, as a teenager, you have to have a different mindset, or be wise beyond your years, to have that appreciation as a kid, to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna do the work because it's gonna help me get better. The only people, like, first person that comes to mind of that is like a young Kobe Bryant, who obviously there's all these stories about him in high school having that mentality of like, oh, I'm gonna play in the NBA and I'm gonna do this because I'm trying to kill this guy from this state because he's ranked ahead of me in national rankings or whatever. Just to do that work it pays off in the end, guys. I'm just letting you know. And that's coming from someone who wasn't. I played a lot of sports as a kid, but my best sport was probably football. But I didn't really play. I wasn't on the organized team in high. I was on my freshman year. I had to quit for money reasons. I went back my senior year. I played, and I was a bench warmer. I don't hide that. I was a bench warmer. I wasn't anything special. I just had fun. I love being on the team. I love the camaraderie. I love all that. But I've taken all my experiences being a kid who wasn't motivated, being a kid who didn't have someone pushing him, um, and being an adult who did end up getting in shape and losing weight and going through that process, seeing my friends who became college players, professional athletes, go through their process, I brought that to my coaching. And that's why I tell kids now, like, it really does take work. I can help you get there. I didn't go through it. I've seen it. As an adult, you have a greater appreciation for it. You take notes, you pay attention, and that's going to help you get to where you want to be as an athlete or a performer. And whatever sport it is, I know you said you're more marketing towards high school basketball, but this goes for any and all athletes, for any sport. The grind is important for teenagers. Appreciate it now, because by the time you hit 30, if you haven't made anything from it, then you're going to be like, oh man, I wish I could have done this. Just do the work now. And that's just my opinion on that. From your career, do you have any did you have any bad, devastating injuries in your career?
No,
Oh.
no. To be honest, I mean, I was pretty blessed with staying healthy. I think I sprained an ankle one time in an adult league. I came down, landed on a foot, and I was hurt for like a day.
Okay.
And so, I had a little bit about when I was a freshman. I was playing volleyball at the time. Had some jumper's knee, and that was pretty short lived. As I got older, I just knees started to not like the force so much as you get older, but it's kind of a natural thing. There's only so much you can do, and I keep myself pretty healthy. Um, but growing up in high school and college, I was pretty blessed. I didn't have a lot of injuries. I think when I ended up playing lacrosse in college at Cal State Fullerton.
Oh, nice.
So after basketball, I switched over and played a couple years of lacrosse. And I had a pretty bad concussion. I got blindsided, got knocked out on the field for a little bit, lost vision, peripheral vision for like an hour, the whole thing. So I had a pretty nasty little concussion. But outside of that, that's it. I was pretty blessed to stay pretty healthy.
Was that for like the actual Fullerton team, or was it intramurals? What is it?
So the way lacrosse works, it's a club team.
Okay, there you
go. But they play in something called the MCLA. Mm-hmm. And the MCLA is nationwide, and they actually have more teams in lacrosse than the NCAA does. So while it's not anywhere as good as the NCAA teams, of course. I mean, there's some really good lacrosse in the MCLA. Chapman University's got a great Division I team. Before Michigan went to NCAA, and several years ago now, them and Chapman had a great rivalry for the championship every year. So yeah, there's some great teams in there for sure.
Was that your first time playing lacrosse, or you played as a kid, or?
Kind of. I mean, when I was a junior at Newport Harbor, we actually some buddies of mine started the team.
Oh.
And I played for probably half a season, and then had to bounce out because we didn't get school credit. So I was doing high jump at the time too. So I switched over and just did high jump. But it was my first taste. So when I got over to Cal State Fullerton, it's like, oh, what do I want to do here? I want to, meet some friends. I want to do this stuff. Obviously, I love playing sports. Mm-hmm. I looked at a couple of fraternities, and I was 21 at the time. I was like, I'm probably a little old to start this. And I wasn't vibing with the people I was talking to too much. And then I met a buddy and saw his stick, and he gave me the flyer. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And we was fun, man. We were like our own little fraternity out there. So we had our house, and dude, it was the greatest time for those 2 years.
That's dope, man. Honestly, I think I said this earlier this year. I did modern day lacrosse. I did announcing for them. I had never watched lacrosse before. Like I've seen sometimes on TV, but my most experience with lacrosse was watching the movie American Pie.
Oh yeah, Stifler. Which you
Stifler and
want
Oz.
yeah, let me pause you on that real quick. Stifler. So I got one of those like facial features that I get a lot of people like, you look like this guy. You look like this guy. I've gotten a lot of different things for a lot of years. The number one thing I would always get is, bro, you look like Stifler.
Because I'm the fucking Stiffmeister.
And so if you were around in those like late 90s, early 2000 American Pie eras when Stifler was like the king, like you'd understand how funny that is. But yeah, I get Stifler all the time.
I guess something about the facial structure, maybe a little bit.
Just it depends on what angle you get me in.
Sure, yeah, no, I guess I could see that. But yeah, Stifler, Oz in American Pie. That was like the most I've ever watched lacrosse. But watching modern day do it, because they had a solid team. I think they went to CIF, and I don't know how the season ended, but that's fun, dude. It looks fun. Like it looks.
It is. I'll tell you, if we had it growing up, because I trained a couple Major League Lacrosse athletes before, and it's a fun sport to be around, and it was a fun sport to play. Probably one of the most fun sports I have played. I mean, I'm in love. Basketball is my first love, right? It'll never change. But that was a great time, great sport. So if I had it growing up, I'm definitely would have played it, and I think I would have been pretty good at it given the time. But I think my basketball background actually helped with lacrosse a little bit. Not with the skills. Like once you get the skills down, like that's a separate thing. You got to get the skills of the sport. But you said picks. You play defense. Like a lot of the zones in the movement were very flow-like to basketball. So in terms of spacing and those types of scenarios, outside of the skill, there was a lot of correlation I felt to basketball, which helped me kind of gravitate towards being okay at it.
Okay. Growing up, did you have any like favorite athletes or favorite basketball teams that you remember?
Oh yeah. I'm a Lakers fan, number one.
There you go.
Lakers. I got a Boston Celtics fan friend who's he lets us hear about it all the time for sure. You know how that rivalry goes.
Yeah.
But college, man, I'm a big Kentucky Wildcat fan.
There you go. And athletes growing up, you got to see. I mean, I don't know if you remember Showtime Lakers at all from being like a toddler or kid or.
I was young when that Magic era was out, but I remember it.
Okay.
But I was young with it, so I really grew up in the team after that. The Nick Van Exels, the Sadale Threats, the Vlade Divac, the Eldon Campbells, Eddie Jones, Cedric Ceballos. That was like my first Lakers team because I was a little too young for the Magic teams.
Yeah.
But that was like my first Lakers teams. And then, of course, you had the Kobe Shaq after that.
Of course. Any other sports that you follow or any other athletes like that you're a fan of outside of basketball?
I mean, it's football season right now.
Who's your team?
So I'm a Packers fan.
Okay. That's Cowboys fans are like, oh, hell.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm not a Cowboys fan. They're actually, like most people, if you're not a Cowboys fan, they're probably your least favorite team in the NFL.
They don't bother me too much. I got some Cowboys friends out there.
I mean, I have plenty. They're learning now. They're seeing now over the last few years, like, damn, we ain't gonna win shit with Jerry Jones at the helm.
I don't think so, man.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, it's not gonna happen until he's gone.
Hey, but shout out to Jerry and Dallas Nation for sending us Micah. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for that.
Oh man, that was so crazy. Yeah, no, and then I don't know if you've seen there's a documentary, America's Team, on Netflix of the Cowboys from the late '80s to the early '90s. His whole thing. I think I'm on like episode 5 right now, but yeah, I grew up with a kid named Sal. Shout out to Sal. We're still cool to this day. Went to school with him for like 9 years, and he was a Cowboys fan, and he was your obnoxious ass Cowboys fan. He would come into every time they would win, which through the 2000s wasn't often, but when they would, up until like 2008, I think, when they would win, how about them? He would come into class, how about them Cowboys? And all of us were like, bro, shut the hell up. Like, that's why it's his fault, but that's why I can't. Even my Cowboys fan friends now that I'm cool with, they're not as obnoxious. They're not as annoying. But he was a kid, and that was just his thing. And yeah, that shit pissed me off. To this day, I still hear him whenever the Cowboys win. That's the first, and I see anyone put, how about them Cowboys? I'm just like, oh my God. takes me back to that time, and it's just irritating. This is why I don't like the Cowboys or Cowboys fans for the most part. But now they're starting to be more realistic and realize, damn, we ain't gonna win. This ain't our year. This is not it.
I mean, if you go by recency, I mean, they haven't won since the 90s.
30
So,
years.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with them. But, yeah, again, appreciate that gift. Thanks. Keep sending them over.
That was a crazy trade. That was, Michael Parsons going to help out that defense. I know Kenny Clark was a solid D lineman, but Michael Parsons is one of the top, if not the top, edge rusher in the NFL alongside TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. Before we get out of here, is there anything else you want to add in for the podcast? Anything? I know you promoted a little bit of CCP, which you guys have coming up. Is there anything you want to say? Any other shout outs you want to give to some of your partners or your friends or your athletes?
Well, let's always shout out the athletes, right? Without the athletes, we don't stay in business.
It's true.
And so without good kids too coming in, setting the culture through their effort, through their attitudes, through their engagement and willingness to participate, that's what makes it fun for us. Like I don't want to have to pull teeth to have someone do this, but fortunately, being in the private sector, it's not it doesn't work quite like that when you're enrolled at a school and the kids have to be there sometimes.
True.
Like they're more voluntarily coming here.
Yeah.
And so they're coming in and understanding like, hey, I want to be here because I want to get better. So we got pretty good kids. So always shout out to the athletes. We'll keep working hard to set an environment and a foundation to help you kind of continue to evolve and better yourselves athletically and as a person. All we ask of you guys is keep coming in and ready to go. That's it. But all the support that we get from our coaches, Coach Yo at Amati at Foothill. We got Coach Steve Scoggin at Woodbridge. We got Coach John Andlin at Tustin High. Of course, Coach Sarah over at Canyon. And shout out to our Portola crew, who we don't work with now, but we had a great year, a couple of years with them. And they've got Coach Jackie doing a great job. And I still work with a couple of their players who come see me. So, and then of course, like Josh over at Fairmont, and the team at Fairmont, you got to shout them out.
Oh yeah, shout out to the Dog Pound. That's why I came in with the Dog Pound shirt. And shout out to Coach Chase, CCP. Make sure you come in Costa Mesa. If you're in Orange County, definitely come through. I've seen him work. I've seen him work with athletes, and I have nothing but good things and positive reviews to say. Things I've heard from kids myself, and again, that's high praise from teenagers who again don't really, unless you're wise beyond your years, you don't really understand or appreciate the work you're putting in. But I've seen it myself. Definitely give him a look. Definitely excited for the future for you guys and in this space. Appreciate you coming on to Slick Talk. And thank y'all for watching. And we'll see y'all next week. Make sure in the next week you have a conversation with a loved one or someone in your life that you care about. Again, could be a minute, could be an hour, could be hours. Make sure you go out and talk to someone. Communication is important, guys. Make sure you have a good talk with someone in your life. Until next time, this is not the Henny Cave. This is Chase Cameron Performance Center out here in Costa Mesa. Come by and see my boy Chase. He'll get you right for your sport of choice. And we'll see y'all next week. Slick Talk, Real Combos. I'm Slick Rick. Peace out, y'all.